Welcome to the Chief Architect Master Wing Remodel Seminar. In this video, I'll cover the process to remodel the master wing of this as-built project and transform it into the space you see on your screen. I'll go through modifying the floor plan, adding dimensions, changing the materials, building the bath vanity, designing a shower, changing the ceiling, doing the framing, and then looking at the materials list. Let's go into the program and get started on the Master Wing Remodel Seminar. For this master wing remodel, I have the as-built plan open on my screen, and the client requirements are to convert the second bedroom into an office, increase the master bath significantly, adding a tub and a large shower, then enlarge the master bedroom and closet you can see off to the left-hand side in the blue shaded area. That's going to be the addition, and then we're going to add a see-through fireplace from the master to the office. If I toggle off the reference display, this will show you the walls it will demo. If I move over to the 3D view, you can see the walls that are existing. Again, if I toggle off the reference display, you can see those walls it will remove. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the completed remodel project. This is the floor plan that I'll end up with. The reference display showing the as-built footprint toggled on, and then let's take a look at the 3D of the final project. And in this view, if we kind of tilt up and pan around a little bit, you can see the larger master bedroom, the office that will be converted from a bedroom, the larger master, and then the addition with the shower, the tub, and then the master closet. Let's begin the project by making the changes into the as-built for the addition. With the as-built plan open, you can see the areas highlighted in orange that have been removed or demoed out of the design. I've used the reference display feature to superimpose that original as-built over the top of this existing plan. You can easily toggle that on with the reference display tool. F9 is the keyboard shortcut. You can also use the tool reference display off to the far right hand side of my screen and toggle that on and off. Now the area off to the left in the blue highlight is where we're going to add the addition. Let's begin by using our exterior wall tool, and I'm simply going to kind of come around here and draw these walls out around that approximate shape. Once I'm finished, let's go ahead and switch our plan view to the floor plan view, and I'm going to take this as-built plan and I'm actually going to save it as the remodel plan. We'll come down and I'm going to save it as the remodel plan, and now I can actually continue the design work. Now the first thing I want to do is actually place my automatic exterior dimensions. Let's go ahead and update these using the tool for automatic exterior dimensions. And I'm going to come over here, I'm going to select the uppermost wall, move my mouse until it highlights a dimension. I'm going to set that to be 4 feet. Then I'm going to take this lower wall and set the dimension to be 6 feet. For the interior walls, we'll go ahead and highlight this main wall in here. Simply pull it across. This will form the master closet in here. And then I'm going to use the wall tool for the shower. The glass shower wall will come across here and pull that wall into place. Again, use the automatic exterior dimension tool to refresh those. And then I'm going to make a slight adjustment on this shower wall. Go ahead and highlight the dimension. I'll set it to be 5'4". Now as far as naming the rooms, let's go ahead and begin with the area that's going to be the shower. When you click in the room, you'll notice a gray highlight. You can double click to open that room up. And what I typically will do inside of here is I will choose that it's going to be a bath or maybe even the master bath. And then to change the room display label in here, I'll just type over that. This will inherit the properties of the master bath, whether it's the flooring, the moldings, whatever defaults may be set for that type of a room. I'll go ahead and do the exact same thing for the master closet. In this case, I'm just going to choose the closet room, and perhaps you may want to give it the name master closet. And now I'm going to place a few windows. There's an existing window back here that was the bathroom for bedroom number 2. I'm going to take this window. I'm going to use the copy tool in the lower edit menu. There's a function with the multiple copy tool after you've selected it called the sticky copy mode, which will allow you to continually copy that window. I'm going to enable that mode. I'm going to come over into the shower room, pick up the midpoint, place a window in this area, place a couple of windows in the master closet. I'm not going to worry too much about the dimensions. I'll press the spacebar to get out of the sticky copy mode. Maybe hold the shift key down for both of those windows. Use the center in room tool. Those are exactly centered. And then for the window that's going to be near the tub, let's just use our basic window tool. Come over here, place the window, and I want to set the size of this window. Let's open it up. And on the width, I'm going to set it to be 44 by 60. The default window is actually using a fixed window. That works well. If you wanted to go into the options over here and mark that it's tempered glass since it's going near a bathtub, you could easily do that. In refreshing the automatic exterior dimensions, they are set to go to the center of the openings. That's something you can control if you want it to go to the frame or the casing. That's a setting in the default for that tool. Now maybe a few minor cleanup things. This room in here was a bathroom for the second bedroom. I'm going to actually use that as the water closet. And then in this room over here, which was the second bedroom, I'm going to change that to be a type of an office. And one of the final structural things I'm going to do is I'm going to add a hinge style door for the closet. Now as I hold my mouse over this before I actually left click, as I move my mouse without clicking to the inside or the outside of that wall, you can see the way that it will position the hinging. Let's go ahead and click and place it so that opens into the room. And then let's also use the door tool to place a shower door in the shower. We'll go ahead and click here. Notice my shower door default is set up to swing both directions. Shower doors are typically required always to swing out. This is a large room, so I have it set to swing both directions into the room and out of the room. Let's use the camera tool and take a 3D view and adjust our materials using the perspective floor camera. In this 3D overview, I'm going to add some new materials. Let me begin with the walls in the bath and the water closet. I'm going to select the water closet room and also the master bath. Double click to open them up. And what I'm going to do inside of the wall covering is I'm going to come over and add a new wall covering. I know the particular product I'm looking for, so I'll use the search option. And then I'm going to go ahead and set the height of this to be 54 inches. Make sure that it goes all the way to the bottom of the floor. I'm going to go over to the moldings panel. I want to add a chair rail. Let's come over, click the Add New button. I'm after just a simple rectangular shape. I should be able to find that underneath our base moldings profile. And then I might change that type to a chair rail. Not super important to do it. It makes a small adjustment you can see in the diagram. I'm going to set the height of this to be 7 1/8, and then the vertical offset, I'm going to set that to be 61 1/8, and then also make sure that it is to the top. In the preview diagram, you can see that that molding is now at the top of the wall covering. And then when we see this in 3D, you can see that wall covering and that molding. It's also been applied, in this case the wall covering, to the shower wall. Let's go ahead and make an adjustment in the shower wall here. As I open up the wall, let's go to the wall covering panel. You can come down and choose that there is no wall covering on the glass shower wall. And then the reason there is no molding on this wall that we had is because there's a setting in here that says no room moldings. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to add a pathway that goes through the bathroom into the water closet, and also a pathway that goes between the closet and the shower, and then fills the majority of the room for both the shower and the closet. Let's do this in our floor plan view. Now the first thing I'm going to do in this floor plan view is I'm going to change the layer set in the plan view to use kitchen and bath. It's a simpler look without those dimensions on the exterior. And I'm going to come up into the build menu, underneath floor, and there's an option over here that says floor material region. I'm going to click and drag this through the water closet, and I'm going to press the tab before I release my left mouse button. When I do this, I can enter in the coordinates. I know that I want this exactly 24 inches in width. Now I'm going to take that floor material region. I'm going to use the center tool. I'm going to center it on the master bath doorway. You see the ghost outline of that. I'm going to come up, use this temporary dimension, and I'm going to set that to be 12 inches away from that wall. Let's make one copy of this and slide it over so that it goes into the shower and the closet. Let's use the copy button. Let's slide this over. Again, use the center tool, center it on the doorway, and then we'll go ahead and make an adjustment in here using those temporary dimensions. I'm going to set that to be 12 inches as well. And then I want to go in here and put a break in here to fill the shower room. I'm going to click on the break tool you'll find in your lower edit menu, come back up here, put a break in this area, pull it over. Again, you can use those temporary dimensions to position it, put it 12 inches away. Click on this side. You may not see a temporary dimension in here. Let's go ahead and use our end-to-end dimension tool. I'm simply going to come down, draw a temporary dimension in here, select the edge, come over, and put in 12 inches. It didn't pick that up as a regular dimension because it's a glass wall. Go ahead and delete that dimension for now. Let's zoom out. Let's do the same thing in the closet. I'll kind of do this in a pretty quick fashion. We'll pull it down. I'm going to put a break using the break tool right in this area right here, and then we'll go ahead and pull that over. Again, you can use your temporary dimensions. I'm not going to worry about positioning the other dimensions. And you can see what we have in 3D. Let's go ahead and rotate around so you can see how we filled that space in the shower, in the closet, and that's using the floor material region. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to work on putting a vanity in this back wall area and then creating our wall dimension. Let's go back into our floor plan view. Let's use the wall elevation camera that you'll find underneath the elevation cameras. Come over here and slide a wall elevation through this wall. To build the bath vanity, let's start with a simple base cabinet and place that in the room. I'm going to use my temporary dimensions to resize this out to be 60 inches. Let's double click and open up the cabinet. In sizing the cabinet, let's make the height of it to be 34 inches, the depth of it to be 21 inches. On the countertop, I'm going to set that to be 6 inches. And by the way, notice each time as we make a change in the dialog, the preview is updating as well off to the right hand side. On the toe kick, I'm going to change that to be 6 inches. This will reserve space for the cabinet feet even if you don't want to have a toe kick. That's where you size it. I'm going to slide this cabinet dialog over a little bit so that it's easier to preview what we're doing in the dialog. To make the changes on the face items, let's begin on the lower portion. Let's take these double doors, change that to be a drawer. You can always come up to the vertical parent. You can use the equalize button. That will equalize those face items. Now I'm going to use the split vertical and split that into two equal face items. And then I'm going to come over to the layout vertical. You can see it highlight in gray on the preview panel, and I'm going to also split that in a vertical manner as well. Now for this face item, these two drawers, I want those to be openings. I'm going to go ahead and click on each one of them, and I'm going to come over into the face item, choose an opening for both of those face items. Once I'm finished, then I'm going to go up to the layout horizontal. I'll use the equalize and equalize all of those face items. To place the feet, let's come over to the accessories, and I'm going to come over, browse out to the library. You'll find a variety of catalogs for the cabinet feet. I've saved one in my favorites library. Let's go ahead and select this cabinet foot. This will come in at the 6 inches right on the corner of the cabinet. Let's go ahead and change the offset for this. In this case, let's put in a -6 on the width, and on the depth, let's go ahead and put in a -3 inches. Press the tab key, you can see the preview of it, and now we've created our basic cabinet. I'm going to go ahead and slide that over against the edge of the wall, and let's go back into 3D and take a look. Now you can see the cabinet in 3D. Let's go ahead and do a search for the material for the countertop. I'm looking for an Anika material. I believe that's in one of our manufacturer catalogs. I'm going to come over here, I'm going to spray that onto that countertop. And as long as I'm in here, I'm going to also spray that onto the shower sidewalls in here. Make that change. Should have done that a little bit earlier so that I have those materials set. Now the next thing for the cabinet, let's go ahead and find a sink and a faucet, and we'll place an LED mirror for this. So back over into the catalog, I'm going to come up, I'm going to look inside of my user catalog. I've saved a few favorites in my folder and organize those. If I come over into the bathroom, I'm looking for the sink that I've saved. I'm going to come over here and click and place that sink. Now the program is giving me a warning. My vanity has a number of drawers in here, and this surface mount sink may cause a problem with those drawers. In this case, I'm okay with that. I can make that top drawer false drawer. Let's turn on our vector view so it's a little bit easier to see what we've just placed in this view. And now I also want to grab a faucet. That's going to be a little difficult to place it in 3D, so I'm going to return back into my floor plan view. Let's zoom in a little bit. I'm going to click on that sink, press the tab key, position it a little bit closer to the front of the vanity. Come over, grab the single handle faucet, come over here, click and place that. We'll go ahead and pull that in. Sometimes I'll toggle on my crosshairs so you can use this, or you can always use the center tool and make sure that that's exactly centered on the object that you want. Now in the 3D view, I'm going to go ahead and place the LED mirror. Go ahead and place that on the wall here. And then I'm going to use the material eyedropper and grab the material off of the door. Make sure that I'm in object mode, and I'm going to spray that color onto that bath vanity. Let me toggle on my standard view. With all the components completed for the vanity, I want to create a copy of those and move them to the other side of the room. I'm going to come down, I'm going to click on the mirror, I'm going to hold my Shift key, click on the faucet, hold my Shift key, and click on the vanity. With those three objects selected, I'm going to come down into my lower edit menu. I'm going to use the copy tool, use the reflect about tool, come in, find the center of the room, and place a copy exactly next to the other vanity. Now I'm going to go back into the wall elevation and do the dimensioning. Using the Auto NKBA dimension tool, we'll apply the dimensions. You can clean these up and make adjustments. As I toggle on my crosshairs, a lot of times I like to pull these centerline indicators up. I use the crosshairs to make the same alignment at the same elevation. Any of the dimensions can be modified. Notice that all of the diamonds on the mirrors up above, I'll just simply click on those, pull them off just a little ways so that it cleans up that dimension, and those mirrors are not being dimensioned on the bottom. That dimension string on the bottom looks pretty good, and you can see the mirrors are dimensioned on the top. And now I'm going to move on and do a little bit of work inside of the shower and the water closet. In the next segment of the video, I'm going to go ahead and complete the shower and place a few of the other fixtures. Let's begin by placing a bench in the shower. You can do this with a number of tools. I prefer to use the countertop tool. You could put an edge profile on it, you could curve it, and it seems to be one of the most flexible tools to create a shower bench. You're going to find the custom countertop underneath of the cabinet tool. I'm going to come over into the corner of the shower. I'm going to click and drag until we pick up the snap on the other side. Using Chief Architect Premiere, I can actually press the tab key before I release. That way I could set the width of the bench. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and set the width of it at 14 inches. And then for the height on the countertop, I'll just double click, open it up, and I'm going to remove the thickness setting for the countertop. Go ahead and set that to be 4 inches. And then the height from the floor to top, I'm going to go ahead and set that to be 21 inches. Now over in the 3D view, I'm going to go ahead and put in a search term that I'm looking for a material to apply to the bench. I'm going to use this Queen Anne material, simply spray that onto the bench, and now I'm ready to place the fixtures and wall niches. Let's begin with the wall niches. You're going to find a niche tool underneath of the window. I'm going to come over here and click and place the niche. It's going to be the easiest way to position that in a wall elevation. Again, back into the floor plan view, we take our wall elevation tool, cut a wall elevation through here. I want to exactly position the niche before making a copy of it on the other side of the window. Let's use the automatic NKBA elevation tool. We'll position that. I'm going to grab the niche, come up to the dimension. We'll enter in 6 inches from the window casing. I'm not going to worry too much about the floor to bottom. That looks okay to me. While the niche is selected, I'm going to use the Copy Reflect About tool, come in, use the Reflect About from the room, and exactly position that niche. Now for the shower controls, that's going to be easiest to place in the floor plan view. If I clear out my search function in my library, come down, you can see in the preview panel down here, I've created a blocking, probably difficult to see on the video, I've created a blocking of a shower head and the body sprays and controls. I find it easier to just simply click and place those and then make adjustments to them after the fact. So I'll just go ahead and rotate that in, pull it in and position it. Maybe bump it to the shower bench. I'll make a copy of those using the Copy tool and then reflect it and reflect it around the other side of the shower. A couple more fixtures for the shower. I want to use a shower head. Again, I've saved one of my favorites that I use in here. We'll go ahead and place that in the center of the room. And then for the strip drain, we'll go ahead and place that against this wall. And I'm going to probably pull that out just a little bit. You can hold the control key down to override bumping and snapping. And then for the most part, I have the fixtures set up for the shower. For the water closet, I'm going to come over. I've got a toilet, bidet, and grab bar. Again, I block these and save them into my library. Grab that, place that in the floor plan view. Then I should have a tub and filler that I'm going to place over in the main portion of the master bath. A lot of times I do like to use the center tool, centered on that window. And now for the most part, I have most of the fixtures placed. And as we rotate around in the 3D view, you can see all of those components in the shower, in the water closet, and in the main master bath with the tub and filler. All of the views that we've been looking at, the floor plan view, the elevation views, can be sent out to the layout and organized. If you take a look at my completed layout, you can see the rendering, the elevation views, and the floor plan that I've positioned, set to scale, as well as a schedule of fixtures and then the master bath notes. In the next segment of the video, let's take a look at some remodeling options for the remainder of the master wing, including some ceiling and roof styles. Now for this segment of the video, we're going to take a look at adding a different roof style and different ceiling styles for the master wing. Roofs are automatic in Chief Architect. You may notice for this edition that it already has a roof of a gable style over the top of it. If I look at the options we have for different roof styles, you can build several in the program that range from gable, hip, shed, gambrel, and several others. And these are typically controlled through the wall settings. As I rotate around and look at the front of the new office, if I click on this wall, there's a tool to convert this wall to a full gable. And since the automatic roof is on, it will automatically update the roof when I make that change. Rotate around to the back side where the master bedroom is. What I want to do in this case is I want to create a nice shed style ceiling and shed style roof back here. I'm going to go ahead and select the walls on the side, hold my shift key down. I'm going to use that same setting, toggle the walls to a gable, and then on the back wall, I'm going to go ahead and click on this. I don't have an option in my edit menu to convert that to a shed, but what I will do is go in, open up the wall, and inside of the wall dialog on the roof panel, here are all the different roof styles you can control by simply changing this property in the wall. I'm going to set it to be a high shed gable wall, and you can see that pop up. I might take this side wall and go ahead and pull that siding back. Adjusting the attic wall will give you a message. We'll go ahead and make that adjustment. And now I've got the option to have a nice shed roof, and then as we roll into the inside using my mouse wheel, I'm going to make an adjustment inside of the ceiling in here and vault this and create the shed style ceiling in here. Let's go ahead and click on the floor, double click on the floor, and then on the structural panel of the dialog, I'm going to come down here under the ceiling and I'm going to remove the flat ceiling out of the room. Now you're going to notice when that happens that we now have the shed ceiling. Let's go ahead and move in a little bit, maybe rotate around, take a look. The electrical and all of those components already follow it. And now I need to make some adjustments into the windows on here so we can maybe add some new windows above the existing windows in the design. I'm going to hold my Shift key down and I'm going to select each of the 3 windows. I'm going to use the copy in the lower edit menu. I'm going to slide those up to the bottom of the beam. And then let's go ahead and open these up and make some adjustments in here. Double click to open them up. I'm going to come over on the height and make an adjustment. We'll go ahead and set those to be 45 3/4, and then on the floor to bottom I'm going to set that at 130 3/4. Let's go ahead and close the dialog. The next thing I want to do is resize these posts. I'll go ahead and group select all 4 posts, double click to open them up. I'm going to make sure that I have the bottom height locked, and then for the total height I'm going to come in here and type in a value of 180. And now you can see how we've completely opened up this room. I could add skylights in here, which I do in the full house video portion of this, and then you'd be able to see the skylight sun shadow come in. To toggle the shadows on, sometimes those are expensive in 3D, so I will leave them off. I'll come down and use the Edit Active view, then I'll simply turn on the shadows, and we'll be able to see. Let's go ahead and return back to our floor plan view. On the other side of the master bedroom is the office, and I want to create a tray ceiling inside of the office. If we use a 3D camera and we point and click in the direction of the office, let's take a look at our current condition. There's a 10-foot ceiling, and to add a little bit of character, I think the tray, if it came down 12 inches, would add a little bit more interest into the room. Let's go ahead and click inside the room, and there's an option in here for the tray ceiling. Now for this tray, I'm going to set the width of it inside from the walls to be 18 inches. The depth, 12 inches. Note you could recess this into the ceiling if you had room. The pitch, I'm going to use a vertical pitch. You could easily type in 6 and 12, 8 and 12 if you wanted to. And then on the moldings panel, let's go in and put a crown molding. And it looks like the default is to have a crown molding 2 inches in width, 6 inches. I'm going to use this existing profile down here for the video. And then I'm also going to set a rope light that would be just above the top of that crown so we can backlight the tray ceiling. So this automatically creates the tray ceiling. Maybe we'll use the material eyedropper, pick up the color off of the wall, apply that onto the lower ceiling structure, and then let's go ahead and apply the beadboard off of the wall. Let's make sure to do this in component mode and just change the upper tray. Now you'll notice that this tray ceiling also had the electrical follow it, so they're smart objects. You can also go back into your floor plan view and you can make adjustments into this tray ceiling. You can unblock it and create a variety of different styles of trays. Now one final thing that I typically like to do in a remodel project, when you're inside of a 3D view, you can easily take a photograph of a job site and import that into the windows. Let's open up our library. Once you've taken a photo, you can easily import that into the program. If I grab one of my favorite photos that I've used in the past, just simply click in the window and then you can apply it. You can show your client exactly the way the new view will look when they do their remodel projects. Now the final section of the video, I want to take a look at adding the framing for the new edition of the project and then doing a materials list for just that scope of the room. Let's go in and take a look. Now when we began the video, if I toggle on my reference display, the orange overlay represents the as-built model. And really this section out in here was an addition to the project. And if we take a look at the framing view in 3D, you can see that I have framed everything with the exception of this new component. Let's take a look at framing it. I've gone ahead and actually added the foundation already, but I want to frame it and we'll take a look at how to do the materials list for just this area. Back into the floor plan, I'm going to switch the plan view onto the framing view so we can see just those layers. And it might be easy to visualize this in a split screen mode. I'm going to come up into my window, I'm going to tile my screen vertically, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to frame the floor platform. Click in the room, hold my Shift key, click in the other rooms. These represent the areas that we've added on to the new addition. In my lower edit menu, there is framing for just that specific individual object or those group of objects. And I've turned my framing material a different color so it's easy to visualize what just happened. So this has placed the floor framing in there. My floor platform is actually hung as my default, and you can see it apply in there. It works the same way for walls. If you come over here, hold your shift key down, click on the individual walls in here. If I can grab this other wall in here, and the same tool exists to frame those individual components. And again, I've used the green so it's easy to visualize what it looks like. Now for the roof, my roof planes are being displayed. Let's go ahead and click both of these roof planes. It's the same process. You can click build the individual framing for those roof planes. And then the final thing is maybe difficult to see, but my attic wall is not being displayed. Let's go ahead and go up a floor and grab that attic wall. We'll grab the attic wall and again use the individual framing. And then you can see that fills in that space between the roof and the lower portion of the wall. Now to create a materials list for this area, I'm going to draw a standard line right around this section of the new addition. Using this polyline rectangular tool, I'm going to come out, I'm going to make sure that it encloses all of those components, and then I'm just going to simply snap into the wall in there. So I've drawn a rectangle. Let's highlight the rectangle. I'm going to use this tool that is a convert polyline, and one of the objects I can convert it to is a materials list polyline. Let's go ahead and change it to a materials list polyline. At this point, the program is going to pop up the materials list polyline information and ask you what you'd like to include. So you can come down here and remove different components that you want to calculate or not calculate. Maybe you want to pull off the accessories, but you can also include multiple floors. That way it will go down to the foundation, it will cover the attic, and maybe any new floors. If you were to add a second level onto here, it would then include those. And again, you can come in and toggle off the different things that you want to remove when running your materials list. Let's go ahead and close this setting, and now that you've created this materials list polyline, you can execute this at any point by coming into your lower edit menu and saying calculate materials from the polyline. This generates a spreadsheet-like format, and as you scroll down into the materials list, you can see all of the components that are making up this new addition for your project. You can come in, you can type in values into the pricing. So perhaps for your drywall, if we just used a number of $25, you can then calculate exactly how much material that would include and do a pricing. You can export this to other programs, maybe Excel, and then take the pricing to another level of detail for your cost estimating. Well, that concludes the Chief Architect Master Wing Remodel Seminar, and thanks for watching the video. Remember, we have several videos available in our video playlist, how-to articles, and a built-in help system to assist you in your learning.